Well, hey, Carson. Hey, thank you so much for being on the Lead Agent Talk here show. Really happy to have you. We were just talking about the mega conference, but yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. You ready for Thanksgiving and the whole break and everything?
Yeah, we were just talking about it, you know. We're ready for a break, but at the same time we got goals, so kind of puts us
Yeah.
in a funny spot.
Yeah, the goals don't sleep. They
That's
don't
right.
sleep.
Well, I want to ask you about REV Agency Syndicate. The conference. It's your first one, right? DTDW?
This is our first time doing this one. We do some other conferences and events throughout the year. Like we do one in Vegas in June every year. It's a big 2 day, super intensive uh, workshop, very, very detailed. But this is our first time doing this one. And it's cool. We're super excited. We'll have several hundred people there, and it's a whole lot of stress, but it's exciting. So
Yeah, we're definitely bringing value to all the agents out there. I mean, I was there in the audience when you were presenting for the mega conference, the farmers one. And yeah, you killed it up there. It kind of bring a lot of intensity, but also some humor. So I loved it. But yeah, your specialty is for everybody who doesn't know you was life insurance training. But let's just get into maybe the origin story. How'd you get started in the business and where you're from, and yeah, just start from the beginning there.
yeah, so I'm actually born and raised in the Southwest, born in the Phoenix area. Spent some time living there, some time living in Southern Utah, some time living in Vegas and all over. Was born and raised into a family that did auto repair, so that was kind of my first profession. And I really was one of those people that like kind of fell into insurance. Wanted the money freedom, the time freedom. I had a good career actually in automotive, making 6+ figures in my early 20s, and um, but it was brutal hours. It was already hard on my body. I was watching my old man's body fall apart. So I was looking for some other things, and insurance came up. I started with a captive multi-line company called American National, and spent 5 years there. Built a book from scratch. They don't. I wish they would, but they don't allow you to buy book over there, so it's all scratch agency. Um, and I didn't know any different. I didn't know any better either, right? So, uh, coming from automotive, there wasn't a whole lot of direction on, hey, this is an option or that's an option. So I jumped in, but it went really well. In the beginning, things were pretty tough. That's a whole nother story for another day. But within about 6 months, things started clicking off for me, especially with life insurance and annuities. So we ended up being a top one, two, three agency nationally for life insurance and annuities for 5 consecutive years before I went independent. And I always make sure I tell folks as well, I didn't go independent because captive sucks. It's such a big conversation. Like captive sucks, independent sucks. They're just different models. Some people should be captive, some should be independent, but no, just the model I was chasing at the time that was very life insurance focused, very financial services focused. It made it made a lot of sense for me to not do the multi-line model anymore. And that's really why I ended up stepping away and going independent. So yeah, I did that, grown a couple independent agencies and sold them. We just started we're literally couple within the last couple months, we're starting another one. We're going to build it and sell it. And it's kind of what I like to do as far as agency goes is build it, scale it and sell it, and do the next thing. And then behind that, we run a mastermind for insurance agents. I always tell folks it's non-denominational, right? We don't. I don't care if you're captive, independent, life only, multi-line, or whatever. If you want to sell more life insurance and annuities, we're the spot for you. And it's kind of blown up. We've got like 4,000 agents across 22 countries, um,
Oh,
in the mastermind, and yeah, in the more higher level or paid portions. Obviously, not nearly that many, but still several hundred, and in multiple countries. I think across 3 countries in our higher level and paid portions. But it's been a ride, man. It's been a lot of fun, and I don't know if I'd do it different. There's a lot of things I do different, but I think I'd still be where I am now, doing what I'm doing, if that makes sense.
yeah, that's awesome, man. So when it comes to your main focus, is it the training part, would you say now, or would you say still, growing agency, your own agency?
Um, the last 2 years, so I just launched the mastermind a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago. And for the last 2.5 years, that's definitely been my main focus, probably 90%. The only production I've done myself is what was referred in, and they had to be like A-list client. We're looking at, working with $1 million, or they want us to put away 30, 50, 100,000 a year. If they didn't want to do that, I just referred them to somebody in the mastermind. But now that we're up and rolling and things are starting to go good, and it doesn't need quite as much love and attention from me, we're getting back into, like I said, building our own agency again. So I'm back in financial appointments every single day, multiple appointments every day. I think that's part of why our mastermind's good too. It's because it's relevant. It's not, we're not teaching stuff that worked in 1983. It's the stuff I'm literally using. In fact, Andrew, Filar was at the mega conference. He just hit me up today on a little giveaway I was doing. Was like, hey, yeah, can you send me out your mortgage protection sequence? It's a mortgage protection cross-sell sequence. And I call it a financial inventory, but it's kind of like a fact-finding tool to find chunks of money in your client's portfolio. So I sent those things over to him, and those are relevant tools. It's literally what I'm using in what I used in my appointments yesterday, and I'm using today. And it's what we use to produce hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars a year in life insurance, annuities, and other financial services. So
Yeah, definitely sounds like you're in the trenches.
yeah, I enjoy it. And the money's way better. I'll be honest. The mastermind, I never started it to get rich on somebody else. The mastermind I started really for a couple reasons. A lot of it was early in my career. Like, frankly, I was dropped on my face. The dudes that brought me in the business are really, really good people. I think they were ill-equipped to help me find the success that I did. So, for years, I would go in the office at 5 a.m. and from 5 to 9, I would study. I would do this. I would do that. I didn't know who else to turn to teach me. And again, they're good dudes. They did their best. It just wasn't enough for me. Like, I was that far lost. But I did kind of come out of that experience with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder in some regard. And that's really why I launched the mastermind. Frankly, it breaks my heart. Like, I came out of a good career and everything was going good. We just bought our first home, new wife, brand new little baby. And all of a sudden I've spent off all my savings, knocking on the door of bankruptcy, foreclosure, divorce. And it was a really crappy time. And when I went and asked for help, the answer I got back was figure it out or don't. We get paid to bring on people that'll figure it out. And so fortunately, I went and figured it out. But 92% of the people that enter this business don't. 92% fail out in the first 2 to 3 years. And how many of them were doing really, really good shit, frankly, before they got talked into it and dropped on their face? That was the whole motivation behind starting this, was providing the education, collaboration, and accountability that agents need. The verifiable, tangible stuff. Like, if you want to get hyped up, go watch some freaking Tony Robbins on YouTube. If you want tools and resources you can implement today, come and chat with us. And that's kind of where it came from. So it's not a moneymaker, and I like making money. So yes, I do enjoy the financial services side. I'm good at it. I enjoy being in the trenches, and I frankly enjoy the lifestyle and income that it brings to my family. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what we're on it. That's what we're all in it for, right? Is the money. So that was one of the questions I actually have for you, like, which side is more profitable? So thanks for answering that. It is something that's interesting though to help people, and I feel there's value in that too, right? You learn a lot from helping others when you're the teacher. It's like the best way to learn.
yeah, it is. I'm not going to say it's necessarily more profitable than property casualty. It's profitable in a different way. You're more profitable day one, but obviously you don't have that residual on the back end. Um, but yeah, being able to work with others, I feel like my timeline to try new things, implement new things, everything from marketing to processing, systems and resources, just everything happens so much faster because it's not just me trying it out
Mm.
anymore. It's, we'll give everybody, and we don't prop it up like, hey, we're trying this, but let's tell them it works. Here's the stuff we've used that works. By the way, we're trying a new thing. Anyone want to try it with us? And because we have, 50, 100, 200 other agencies of all kinds, farmers, state farm, farm bureau, independents, all over the country, they're all trying it. We get such an enormous amount of data back, and we can look at it and say, okay, well, this didn't work. That did work. That's a good email. That's a crappy form to use. Let's run our appointment this way. Oh, we're running into a compliance issue there. How do we systematize compliance so that when we put something out, everybody's always doing ethical business? It just happens so much faster because of that exposure. And I'm really grateful for it because now I get to implement it in my own agency too, right? We just, like I say, literally a month ago, decided to start our own agency again. And in less than a month, with $0 spent on marketing, we're in 3 to 5 qualified life insurance or retirement planning conversations every single day. It's just a huge
Wow.
amount of data. Yeah, it goes so dang fast when you're exposed to that kind of collaboration.
Yeah, it's a lot better than doing it by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I went it alone once. I don't want to do it again. I want friends.
Yeah, you
So
learn from each other. I think that's the best way. That's the true meaning of a mastermind. So that sounds like you have an awesome thing going on there. Now, you mentioned something that I was kind of like thought was interesting too. When it comes to like some of the captive model where it's like a multi-line, you target the whole, household thing. Do you so you feel like as an independent, like for yourself, you liked just having to focus on the life and financial? Is that kind of like more of your style, would you say? Or is it possible for an agency who's already has built a personal lines commercial, let's say book of business to really cross sell and really dominate in life and financial as well? Or is that really difficult to be able to master two sides of the game, would you say?
no, I don't think it's difficult. In fact, while I was there at American National, I wasn't a top one, two, or three agency for property casualty, but we were a top. I think we were top 50 for property casualty that whole time nationally. Um, and of course, that's on new business. I'm not going to have as much premium on the book as the dude that's been here for 30 years. But when we're looking at raw new business,
Mhm.
we were writing a pretty good amount of business every single month. Um, at least for American National, their numbers and for example, like Farmers numbers are totally skewed and different. But we did really well. So we did well on both sides. We really pushed commercial very, very hard. And we were number one for brokerage commercial nationally for a long time as well. We didn't do a lot of commercial through American National, but they had a brokerage operations that allowed us to go out to some brokers like RPS, Northeast Agencies, and others and place business that way. And we wrote the crap out of that. We just found a niche in some non-standard business and wrote millions in just a couple years, really kind of as a side gig while we ran the life insurance stuff. I think the thing that sets it apart is, are you willing to invest? So my decision to go and niche down to life insurance and financial services is not derivative of necessarily needing to do that. It's just what I enjoy the most. And then I'll tell you this, to this day, literally right now, our number one resource for daily appointments. We don't always get the big stuff out of it, but we get the day-to-day stuff that cash flows, solves problems in 10, 15 years from now. It turns into big stuff for us, right? As death benefits pay out, or as somebody puts hundreds of thousands away and now they need to do something else with it. Our number one resource is we still cross-sell multi-line book of business, especially home and auto book, but health insurance book, Medicare book. Our number one marketing plan is, or strategy is, we go partner with agencies, primarily independent agencies who refuse to do life insurance and financial services. And we just tell them, look, let's sign some contracts, protect your book. Our program is called Once Your Client, Always Your Client, to really reflect that. We want to preserve the integrity of your relationship with your client, but sign these contracts and then get out of the way. Like, obviously, refer me business. That's great. But really what I want is I want a CSV. I want a download of your book. And then we're going to actively market your book of business, $0 out of pocket to us. We don't have to pay for it up front. If we sell something, we'll give you 20 or 30% of revenue. And now you can dump that back into your home and auto leads or your commercial leads or whatever it is you're doing. But it's money you're not making anyways. And it's third party validation you're not making. Like I sell more umbrellas for most property casualty agents than they're selling for themselves. Why?
Mhm.
Because umbrella is it's such a phenomenal tool to help buffer a financial account, a retirement account, and so we'll look at somebody and it's like, well, shoot, yeah, let's put $3,000 a month into an index universal life insurance policy or something for you, and maybe do some of this as well. But shoot, you should spend the $300 or $400 a year to have an umbrella policy to protect that. That way, if the neighborhood kid trips over your garden hose in the front lawn and breaks his nose, you don't have to buy him plastic surgery. And we refer that back to the agency. So now they're going to bump up typically underlying coverages and get that umbrella. Persistency is better. The whole 9 yards. It works really, really well. So that's been our number one cash flow and moneymaker since 2016 is when I created that program. And we've just continued to build on it and build on it. So to your point or to your question, do you have to niche down? No, you need to invest in your agency. Like if you're a multi-line agency, you either need to become the life and annuity person or you need to hire one. And if you're going to
Mhm.
hire one, you got to pay them well. Like that's one of most multi-line insurance agencies. The reason they have a hard time finding a good life insurance person is because they're cheap. Like why would somebody do everything for you to build you a life program for a tenth of what they could go do for themselves? The value of working with you they're going to get paid less, but that value in between, the value they get by being with you, they have a book they can cross sell against. They have all these the culture and the systems and tools and resources you've already brought to bear, that has to be able to make up for the comp cut they're going to take by working with you. But your comp has to make up the rest, right? Um, so yeah, to your question, I think, in fact, in our mastermind, it's one of the things we teach the life only agents. Don't go knock doors for life insurance. Don't go buy life insurance leads. I've never found quality life insurance leads, so I don't buy them.
Mhm.
There's one type of financial appointment I will buy. They're preset appointments, but it's like pension reviews and stuff. It's not life insurance. It's some more high level stuff. Life insurance leads suck. I don't know what it is, but they just suck. Um, Cross selling book is good. So even our like life only agents, hundreds of them in our mastermind. The first thing we tell them to do is go find a home and auto agent who's too chicken shit to sell life insurance, partner with them and give them a piece. You know, the only time you ever have an expense is if you made, you're only paying out $1 if you made 5 already. That's good. That's good cash flow. That's good business tactics. So,
Yeah, and it's a win-win for the auto home agency too because they're offering something that would protect their clients.
yeah, and
So yeah, that's something that I never heard of before, but that sounds like a great idea.
it works so well. And there's so many other benefits to it as well. So whether you do it inside your own agency or you partner up with other agencies to make it happen, either way, that property casualty book, it's going to experience increases in premium per account volume because you're going to see like when somebody decides to buy life insurance, they are more risk aware. And when they
Mhm.
become more risk aware, they start to pay attention to like, oh, maybe I should tell my agent about the boat in the backyard. Oh, maybe 100 or $300,000 in liability isn't enough. Maybe maybe my bodily injury and property damage isn't enough. You start having those conversations, and now they're raising coverages, they're buying endorsements, they're endorsing and scheduling personal property. Obviously, there's premium attached to that. They're getting a better product, which means their claims experience is going to be way better, right? And then overall, because the perceived value is still that they bought life insurance through you, not through your agency, but through your partner, right? And so it's still perceived value in that place. And so overall persistency tends to increase as well. Um, so it's good stuff. Every property casualty book should be begging someone worth their salt to cross sell it for life insurance and financial services.
Man, good stuff. So once you get the book of business, what's your strategy to attack that?
It depends on the composition of the book, and how engaged the agent's been with the book. Sometimes we'll take the book and segment it out into like, okay, here's my homeowners, here's my auto, we'll run email campaigns to the book. Usually we'll do a warm-up sequence with the agency where that agency is going to introduce us like, hey, we're stoked to announce our partnership with High Point Insurance and Advisors. They're working with our clients to help bring you more value, um, and blah, 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 blah. Right. So they'll warm that up and then we can start
Hmm.
dripping. And I really like doing it that way because through an email sequence like that, we can drip on like mortgage protection. And then if people are interested, we built some automated tools where it's like, hey, get a basic idea of what your mortgage protection might be. We built some bracketed quotes that in the email they can literally click a link, put in their age, put in how much they owe on their mortgage, and it'll give them like a bracketed quote that's like, your mortgage protection is probably between this and this, depending on health and this and that and the other, right? If you want to dial that in and really know for sure what exactly it would be, click here to schedule a 15-minute consultation. So they can click, automatic, goes through like Calendly or scheduling through our CRM, and then they're on the phone with one of our advisors. We never had to pick up the phone and chase a lead. They're already on the phone. They know exactly what it is. They know a roundabout price, and they're trying to dial it in. That's a damn good appointment. Like if I can spend my day all day doing that, I'm making money. Um, so yeah, we'll do that. We'll do other versions. Sometimes again, depending on the book, where instead of sending an email sequence out, we'll literally prepare them. We'll take like dwelling A coverage, put together a 15 and 30-year term quote for dwelling A and double dwelling A for like mortgage protection. We'll send it on a nice looking proposal to them and reach out to them. And we have a nice little spiel we give them in an email. And then same thing. Hey, if this sounds like something you'd like to look more into or you have a few questions about, click here, schedule a 15-minute call with one of our advisors and go from there. So again, that it's going to look different depending on the book we're cross-selling. If I'm cross-selling a commercial book, it's different beyond that. But we've been doing this for again since 2016, so almost 8 years now. We've gotten really, really good at it, good at identifying these different segments and how different people behave and some of those different things. But then we've also had 8 years to build out the assets and improve on the assets for each one of those different modes of going after that business, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. I mean, what better is that for a producer to just get a appointment on the calendar without doing anything?
Yeah, that's the only time we get paid. Like it's funny because we'll talk to agents and every agent's job, number one job is you're a marketer first. But the
Right.
only reason you're a
Right.
marketer first is because, all these cool sales skills and these awesome policies you have, they're wasted in vanity if you're not actually talking to somebody, right?
Yep.
But we don't get paid to market. We don't get paid to service. We don't get paid. We get paid to do one thing and one thing only, and that's bind. Bind it and keep it bound. That's it. Right. And so what we really look to do is I like to use a lot of automation, but not all automation is like through a CRM. It's not all computer generated. Sometimes an automation is me putting together a good script and taping it to the side of my CSR's computer and just letting my CSR know every time that damn phone rings and they have a homeowner's policy and no life insurance, you're just going to read this damn thing off until you've read it so many times you can just say it verbatim like you're not even reading it. That's an automation. I'm automating my CSR's decision making. If they have a homeowners and no life insurance, you are saying this. End of story, right? And again, we're just sticking with like a mortgage protection as an example, but you could do this with anything. You could do it with tax-free retirement. You could do it with infinite banking or whatever you want to do. That's still an automation. I'm automating my CSR's decision making process on who gets that conversation. Literally everyone that meets that criteria. And if they don't meet that criteria, do they meet this criteria? And if so, you're going to read this off instead. It's an automation. We're automating the words that they have to say. You don't have to come up with the conversation. In fact, we can automate it further because you're going to say this and they're either going to say this or this. If they say this, you're going to pivot to here. If they say that, you're going to pivot to here. That doesn't have to be in a CRM. It could be on a piece of freaking paper. Um, so we use a lot of that stuff to just make sure that every opportunity is an optimal opportunity. It's an optimal opportunity for my producers to get paid for the only thing they get paid to do, produce. For my CSRs to get that little pay bump, they're on a base plus a commission, but hey, you bring some more money in the door, I'm going to make sure you get a piece of that. Let's make sure you have an optimal opportunity. But then equally important and even more important is make sure that every one of my clients or the clients of other agents we're working with, those people always have an optimal opportunity to work with a really phenomenal agency because they are not going to get the level of service, care, trust, resources, etc., across the street. And I truly believe that. So I have a moral obligation to make sure every opportunity, every conversation is an optimal one. Oh, and by the way, that's the only time we get paid, right? So
Yep.
does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love it. A couple questions. So, um, the CSRs, so those are CSRs at the agency that you're kind of working with that you have to kind of train as well, or do you go as far as working with CSRs that are for the agencies that are feeding you their book of business?
Both. So like I have my own CSRs and I want to make sure they're up to speed. But at the end of the day, like if I'm partnering with an agency, I want to make sure that that agency is set up to have an optimal opportunity and to work with me. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to train their CSRs like, hey, here's what you should be saying when somebody calls in and they have a homeowner's policy, but no life insurance policy. Here's what you say, here's what you do. And if you'll do that every single time, little Miss CSR, I can almost guarantee we can add 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 bucks a month to your income over the course of time. Give it 90 to 180 days, and that starts rolling in. But within 90 days, we can give you a $12,000 a year pay raise. You don't even have to ask your boss for.
Hmm.
And you always pre-sell the agency owner on this. You're like, hey, you're going to get this little piece. Give them a piece. Now you're doing nothing. You're doing literally nothing and just making more money for it. Give them a piece. Give them a reason to want to do successful things, and they'll do successful things.
And what do you consider like a fair compensation for a referral, like per lead or per close, or what's I think you mentioned this in your presentation too, but what seems to be like a good way to reward them?
Yeah. So like if I'm paying the agency, I'm going to pay the agency. Typically, I'm going to pay the agency 30% of revenue. Um, why 30%? A lot of people are like, oh, you can get away with so much less. Yeah, but nobody ever leaves me over a paycheck. I never have an agency like, oh, let me go find someone else because they'll give me a little more. Um, we'll do 100% of the work. You get 30% of the money. That's a pretty good dang deal, especially at the comp levels I get, which are really, really robust. Um, but like if I'm that agency owner and I'm going to compensate a producer, again, if you cut cheap paychecks, then you'll have cheap results. So I know a lot of agents that their tendency is, well, you bring a term policy in, I'm going to give you 20 bucks. You bring in a permanent policy and I'm going to give you 50 bucks. And it's like I've cut some checks on this stuff, it'll start as a term conversation and all of a sudden we're working with $1 million. We write $1 million annuity. I get paid 90,000 bucks on that. So I'm cutting them out 30% of 90,000. They're handing their CSR 50 bucks. Like, forget that. Like, what if you just cut them in at like 30 to 50%? You are doing nothing at that point.
Hmm.
You're doing nothing. So now your team, you have a team full of people that are driving Lexuses and buying nice houses and doing all this stuff. And you don't even have to pay half the damn paycheck. You don't even have to pay it, right? They're earning it for themselves. And then you're making something on top of it. That's a good deal. That's a really good deal. And they'll never leave you. The worst reason for somebody to ever leave you, in my opinion, is because you're too cheap. So
Yeah,
I
good
don't know.
people are too valuable. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. 30%. So you would say like 30% of whatever the agency is getting, you recommend, but that's on them, the agency to compensate their staff however they want to out of the piece they get.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep. That's on
30% of
them.
that, I think does make sense. And speaking of automation, because it sounds like, that's something that these are some brilliant ideas. But besides the email drip, is there anything else that every multi-line agency should be doing, you think, as far as having an email or text or any type of like calendar links? Those are great ones. But anything else that to be a driver of cross-selling your book?
Oh, so many things. Two of the biggest ones that are missed most often, though, I feel like, especially as books grow really large. Number one is client nurture campaigns. Like again, it's just an automated email campaign, but like wishing your clients a happy birthday. If you can't even do that, why the hell would they believe you care about their financial future? You know, that's so dang easy. Um, and with automate, you could literally sing happy birthday to them and just set it up as a ringless voicemail that automatically goes out on their birthday. You have their damn birth date. It would take 20 minutes to set that up. And now 20 minutes for the next 10 years, every one of your clients gets a happy birthday song on their birthday or an email
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, right? Or you could integrate that through a service like send out cards. I love send out cards. And on their birthday, your CRM automatically triggers out an automation to send out cards and says, hey, send this person at this address a happy birthday card. It creates a card and sends it, and it's done and done. And like that all gets set up right off the bat. But people buy from who they know, like, and trust, right? Why would they they're not going to know, like, and trust you unless they have the opportunity to know, like, and trust you. Those are simple things. So like happy birthdays and a monthly newsletter. My buddy Jimmy actually started in the business with me, but he runs a newsletter now, a done for you newsletter service, compliant newsletter service. They've got agents with every damn carrier out there called Chipper newsletter. I think it's like 50 or $75 a month, and it is literally done for you. Like it looks like it's coming from you to your clients. It's got articles. They do like giveaways and all sorts of cool stuff. Click here, or if you refer somebody, you'll go in this drawing for a free plate of brownies, and you don't have to go buy the brownies. They handle that. It's like $75. But again, agents balk at this. If you're going to run email campaigns to try and ask your clients for more business or ask them for things, ask for more money, really, you better damn well first be giving them value without expectations. And a nurture campaign is going to do that. So like newsletters, happy birthdays, happy maple bacon donut day, that kind of stuff. So that's number one that a lot of agencies miss, and it's so easy to set up. Number two is PIRs, personal insurance review or periodic reviews, whatever, renewal reviews. That is probably one of the best opportunities to have a conversation with somebody and make a pitch at life insurance, right?
Yep.
A lot of agents don't do it because they feel like, oh, if I talk to my clients, they're just going to talk about their rates going up and I'm going to lose them. They know their rates going up anyways. I'd rather have the opportunity to talk to my client about it first and keep them on than just get that phone call or that email from another agency. Hey, cancel this person's policies. Here's their signed letter, right? So I want the opportunity. And 9 times out of 10, when we just get there, we'll tell them, hey, we want to do an annual review. Rates are always changing and everything. We want to make sure we have a few minutes to just go through the discounts with you, make sure your coverages are right, and make sure you're getting all the discounts you should be getting. So we'll go through things, or at this point we don't, but what should an agency be doing? And what do we coach our agencies to do to help cultivate some of these life opportunities that my team and I can go convert on? In your agency, your team could convert on them right there, right? But we'll tell them, let's look for like good student discounts. Let's look for it's been so many years now, the AARP discount, the safe driver, they take the safe driver test once they're over a certain age. Or are you in a gated community on your home? Let's see if there's a discount for that. Let's look for all those things. And they appreciate that. That's value without expectations. But now you have an opportunity to maybe increase coverages, pick up an additional line of insurance on that boat or that RV or whatever, and start making some pivots to life insurance and financial services.
And this is a different staff member, right? Than someone who closes life, would you say?
Yeah, I would have. So it's always going to be done best by the agency owner, frankly. But most agency owners that are growing a good agency don't want to do it. And that's understandable, right? So if I'm the agency owner, I'm doing a really damn good job at making my CSRs
Mhm.
phenomenal personal insurance reviewers. And then that's another opportunity. Hey, you find additional opportunities, but CSR, it's not just about finding opportunities and selling more crap. We got to provide the value without expectations first, and then our clients reciprocate. That's reciprocity. It's the universe going to work for us. So here's how you do a really good job at providing value without expectations. We look at discounts, we look at coverages, we talk to them sweet, we like whatever we make them feel good about what they have moving forward, and then we start, hey, I noticed we don't have, hey, what are you doing for this? But we got to do the value part first.
Right.
Um,
Cool. And
so
then yeah, the nurture part and the review part, those are great. I think those are must do's for all agencies. But is the call to action always going to be to a Calendarly or a calendar? Um, is that something that you always direct them to, or what's your game plan there as far
um,
as getting
no,
that
not
appointment?
always. Again, and we'll play around with it. We'll like A/B test a book or split test a book to see, how does that book respond? And a lot of that, we cross sell books from all over the country, not just locally, and
Hmm.
just different areas, different demographies. People behave differently. So some areas, like if I'm cross selling California, Californians seem to like booking up on the calendar, especially Southern California, coastal California does. If I start getting a little more inland, sometimes they don't want to, like if they already know me and we have an established relationship, they're good to just book right to the calendar. But before that, they want to talk to a person. So the call to action instead is shoot us a text. We never ask them to stop in. We never ask them to call us because we try and keep our calendars just hammered doing successful things. If we're constantly inundated with the inbound stuff and the walk in traffic, we're always back and forth. Versus if
Hmm.
you text us, we can be texting you back while we're on the phone with another person, setting up a call for later on, and we're able to just stay more productive more of the time. So,
Okay, and cool. So once the appointment is made or through text, it's coordinated a good time to talk. Then what's any best practices there just to close the deal? For where do we go from there?
it depends again on the type of deal we're looking for. So everything, whether it's somebody with $1 million for an annuity or big cash value policy or a term policy, every case starts with a 15-minute phone call. Because I want to qualify the case. We're not
Hmm.
getting on Zoom. We're not getting on, like, I'm not going to make sure I can rush back across town to get in front of my computer to qualify something. So 15-minute phone call. And then if it merits, then we can have additional calls. So like a big case typically we're gonna have multiple appointments, but on a 15-minute call, I can figure out, do they have a viable need that I can solve from a best interest standpoint? And I can give them some direction. I can say, okay, great. Let's set up a time. I'm going to shoot you a link, grab a spot on my calendar. Let's set up, a good half hour or an hour. And in the meantime, I need you to go get your 401k statements and this and that. Like I can coach them through that. That's what that 15-minute call is for. But if it's for something like cross-selling mortgage protection or upselling accidental death and dismemberment to a 10-year, $100,000 term or something like that, I'm looking to one call close that. Like 15 minutes, it does not take me long to pitch, right? So we run what's called a 15 to 15 sequence on our first call. The 15 is 15 seconds, right? When we get on there, we want a 15-second hook to gauge interest. If they're not interested, then we automatically pivot to, if not, why not? Do you know anyone who might be? Like, give me a referral. Okay. If they are interested, then we go to our two. It's a 2-minute kind of elevator pitch at that point, a really simplified breakdown to really give them a few details and really set that hook. Like if you're fishing, you threw the hook out there, they nibbled at it. Now I want to set that hook. And that's what that 2-minute elevator pitch is for. And it doesn't have to be 2 minutes, just a little longer than 15 seconds, right?
Hmm.
And then from there, we move into a 15-minute conversation. The 15-minute conversation, again, depending on the line of business, it's a different conversation. If it's mortgage protection, I've probably already pitched mortgage protection and the price in 2 minutes. It's that simple. If I'm taking longer than that, I'm overcomplicating it. So that extra 15 minutes is, what questions do you have? What concerns do you have? And what information do you need so that you can move forward comfortably and confidently with implementing this into part of your home protection plan? We've got your homeowner's policy. Let's put this mortgage protection piece in place. And now you have a home protection plan. And we'll spend 15 minutes answering questions and moving to that next step. If it's more of the financial side, I'm going to do a little more fact gathering. It's, okay, so you've got some money, you want to do this. What are your hopes and goals and dreams for this money? What were you hoping to get out of this call with me today? Usually it's going to be filled with questions and their answers. And then I'm going to pivot to, okay, well, we need to do a little deeper dive. We don't have time for that right now, but let's schedule up a little more time. In the meantime, go and get some of these documents together and whatever the case may be. And we'll go from there. I'll shoot you a link, you schedule it, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, we run that 15 to 15 sequence on that first 15-minute call, and it tends to work really, really well. It flows fast. We disqualify things that shouldn't be there, and we get the things qualified that are qualified moving forward.
Nice. Man, well, sounds like you know what you're doing. That's for sure, man. Wow.
We're trying to. I don't know that we're perfect, but it seems to work. So
Yeah, share some with us some success stories or any numbers you could share, anything you're proud of, being in this business and um putting that much blood, sweat, and tears into it. I'm sure you got some great stories to share.
I've got a lot of great stories. I think the thing I'm the most proud of, though, is last year I crossed $1 billion in issued death benefit myself out of my own agency. That was a cool benchmark to hit. $1 billion's a big number.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that was really cool. And then this year in our mastermind, we set a goal for, and this is, again, just the upper levels. It's not all 4,000 or 3,800. It's just a couple hundred of them. We set a goal for $1 billion. We're probably not going to hit it in issued death benefit, but right now with like 60% reporting, we're already at I looked at it this morning. It's like 417 million in issued death benefit. And I know that probably seems underwhelming. People are like, tell me about I've gotten commissions that were 7+ figures. I've gotten, every year I get multiple 6-figure plus commissions, on one policy. And we've done some cool things. Our policy volume is hundreds and hundreds of applications issued per year. My persistency on life insurance, my 3-year persistency is 100%. Those are cool brags, but I think the coolest brag is looking at it and realizing that those death benefits, that's impact in communities. That's impact in the community that I'm raising my children in. It's impact in the community that you're raising your children in. And that impact might be in the form of death benefit. It might be in the form of the cash value performance attached to that or whatever else, but it's impact that is the coolest thing. And that's just a really incredible, it's cool to be a part of that. And it's humbling and frankly weird to think that, this potty mouth tattooed fat white kid, everybody wants to get behind and grow this mastermind. It's just so humbling, man. So that's probably the coolest thing of all, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Not only making a huge impact on your clients and your community, but for the agents community too. Tell us a little bit more about the mastermind. Is what levels are there to it, and what can agents expect to get out of it?
Yeah. So, and again, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, but I built it off of my experience with my career. Our mastermind has 4 levels. We've got a free level, and we just put out a ton of resources. We also do events. We do a ton of free virtual trainings. We do some live events like this DTDW. It stands for Do the Damn Work, that we're putting on in Scottsdale. And we've got like the biggest lineup of the year for life insurance, like David McKnight, the best-selling author of The Power of Zero, Van Mueller, I'm not going to brag and say I'm that big of a player, but I'm a player. I've been a top of table agent for years now for $1 million round table. Some of the other biggest names as far as life insurance influencers that cross sell P&C book, they cross sell Medicare book or health book, and um, it's a cool event. So the folks in our mastermind, they get access to those events. Some of those events, like that particular one, is open to anyone who wants to come, but not anyone gets all the discounts and all the extra cool stuff. When we get into the paid portions, it's all about going to work. Hence the term "do the damn work." It's kind of an ism in our mastermind,
Love it.
and it really again follows a very direct pattern. The first group, it's only $97 a month. Like I'm telling you, when I built this, I didn't build this to get rich on. I built it to pay for itself and help people. But at 97 a month, what we focus on is marketing. We show agents how to build a strategic marketing plan, how to get hyper focused on bringing in business. Sometimes that's in the form of buying leads, but it shouldn't be all bought leads. Like if you're not, we teach you how to have a three-pronged attack, just like you're going to war. And if buying leads is one of your things, great. That would be what we consider a green marketing activity. You still need a yellow and a red. So we teach people how to do that. And then we do a ton of training on marketing, everything from door knocking to running Facebook ads, building websites, and everything in between. The whole idea is how do we generate more, like an additional 3 to 5 quality conversations about life insurance every single day? Because if we can do that, we can sell a policy a day. That's the goal. At a policy a day, you have a career, right? At a policy a day, that life producer in your agency has a career. Anything short of that, they probably don't. They probably don't. So from there, we move up to the next group. In that group, it's $5,000 for the first year or $500 a month. Like we'll finance it for that first year. After the first year, it's only $150 to stay as long as you want. And in that group, we focus on sales strategies and tactics, policy information and policy strategies. And then we do a lot of automation and implementation. In other words, you're in front of enough people now. You're already, getting that one opportunity a day probably to sell a policy. How do we increase our conversion ratio and our total policy volume and premium volume? And we do that through systems and processes, better conversations, your sales skills, and then having better strategies, frankly, not just pitching tax-free retirement or infinite banking. There's a lot better way to go about it and different words to use. Like instead of saying, hey, you can pull your money out and put it to work, if I just say you can deploy your assets, all of a sudden I sound like somebody who knows what the hell I'm talking about, not just peddling a policy. It's the same shit, but different verbiage, right?
Mhm.
And then from there, we go from, okay, now you're in front of enough people, you're closing all the business. Now it's time to level up your agency. And our top level of the mastermind, it's $10,000 for the first year or $1,000 a month financed through us. And then you can stay as long as you want thereafter for what is it, $200 a month. So after the first year, all those fees fall off. And that one's all about agency growth. We focus on paying attention to your balance sheet, developing staff, recruiting, building agency assets. Like how many times have you had to teach somebody how to run a home and auto quote?
Right.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty, right? When in
Yeah.
reality, if you would just record yourself doing it once, save all that in your own agency LMS, now you never have to do it again, ever. Why would you work for the same dollar twice? Stop it. So we build agency assets so that we can effectively build a teachable, sellable, and scalable agency and have a more effective, efficient exit, whether that exit is just us stepping out and the thing runs itself, or maybe it's selling our agency at some point. We get extra levers. We call them exit levers because we have more agency assets. We don't just have a book of business. We have a whole business that contains a book of business. And now I get more multiples for it. And that's what that top group is largely focused on. So
Nice. Yeah. That's so important when you want to sell your agency, right? You can't have an agency that's dependent on the owner to be there to be able to sell it. So all those training materials and um SOPs, I think that's yeah, a must to have that all in place. But yeah, That's good stuff, Carson. I mean, where can everybody learn more about you?
First of all, come and follow me on Facebook at C Porter 389. I'm on LinkedIn at C Porter 389, Instagram, TikTok, wherever. I think I do most of my stuff on Facebook though. Um, REVAgencySyndicate.com. If you'll go there, you can find more information about our mastermind and everything. REV Agency Syndicate, REVAgencySyndicate.com. Our event in January, I can't remember the link. It's like REVAgencySyndicate.com/DTDW. I don't know.
Send it to me.
But you can
So
get to it from the site.
yeah, and you send it to me, so I'll put it on the description here.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. I'm telling you. So for that event, I don't know. We're doing it. First of all, it's Scottsdale in January. Anybody who doesn't know about Scottsdale in January, it's probably like one of the top three places in the entire country to be. It is so beautiful. We're there the same week as the Barrett-Jackson car auctions and car show, which is the biggest car auction on earth. It's so cool. Um, the lineup we have, half of that lineup did an event in Chicago earlier this year. They charged $2,000 for it. We're charging $350. We have a Black Friday sale right now that's an extra $100 off through the end of November, I think. But $350. We got a room block that's 119 a night. The place we're at is normally 400 a night. Like we've gone out of our way to make sure that any agent who's willing to invest 500 or $1,000 in themselves to be there is going to leave with implementable education, collaboration, network, tools, and resources they can put to work on Monday morning and probably sell a policy or two to pay for the whole damn trip. It's cool. It is going to be the best event for those that want to sell life insurance and annuities. End of story. So
You're only limited to like about 300, right?
yeah,
Agents?
300 total agents. We do have sponsors. It's not a pitch fest. So none of our sponsors get on stage and pitch at you. It is value, value, value all day long. The sponsors we have, they're all vetted. These are the people we're giving our money to do what we're doing. And so it's like, hey, they're great resources. If you want to go talk to them, go talk to them. If you don't, you don't. But they're there. One of the reasons they get our event as far as sponsoring goes is because they align with our values. And our values are give value without expectations first. And if people don't think you're a piece of shit, then they'll probably do business with you. So yeah, it's not a come and get pitched fest. It's come and learn and grow.
Yeah, well, I had a pleasure of hearing you speak, man, and it was tons packed with tons of value. That's why I wanted you to on the show. Same thing today, man. I'm sure we're gonna cross paths, maybe there too. So I'll definitely look into it. I'll put the link in the description. But it's been great to learn from you, man. I mean, it's just such great things happening out there in the insurance industry, and not a lot of people are willing to share their, you know, so many like mistakes and tribulations that we've gone through. The best way to learn from is to learn from someone who's done it, and you're definitely one of them. So it's an honor to getting to know you, brother. And looking forward to connecting with you and working with you more in the future. Any last thing you want to share with my audience to kind of help them out? It's been a tough year for a lot of people out there. You know, insurance business is not for the weak, but how to stay strong and what's anything you want to share at the end here?
Yeah, I would think, and thank you for the opportunity to get on and share. I appreciate it. It really does mean the world to me. I've got a beautiful wife and two beautiful kids because somehow I figured out how to do this business. And I want that for more people because I almost lost my relationship with my wife and my boys, and that sucks. So it means the world to me, and I really do appreciate it. And you know, with the way this year's gone, and next year is likely going to go for a lot of folks. It's just, you know, the time that we're in. What I would tell people is this: the difference between where you're at, where you want to be, is the work in between, and nobody else is going to show up and do it for you. Eventually, you're going to have to pick up the phone and make that call. Eventually, you're going to have to go knock that door. Eventually, you're going to have to spend some money to pay somebody to teach you how to do it, or how to take it to the next level. But where you're at and where you want to be, like I say, the only difference between those two is what has to happen in between. And you know, you can spend your whole life not getting where you wanted to go, or you can just sack up and go get there. So
Do the damn work, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start using that one. I love it, Carson. Hey, thanks again for your time, brother, and let me know if you ever need anything. We'll be keeping in touch for sure.
appreciate you, dude.